Okay. Back there in the distance, there's a bridge getting built. As we see, oh man, we missed the beams. They set them already. What you see is two gentlemen. One is a surveyor. The other one is what they call a rodman or a chain man. He is basically taking measurements and whatnot to determine the length of the road, the width. And at this point, he's just measuring the distance across the road to make sure that he's got enough material to cover it. I would imagine. Plus, he might be checking to see if they're just double checking if there was any mistakes made. If you'll notice, it's where the curb ends right there, because off in the distance, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here. Off in the distance, you could see those trucks over there, and you kind of start to make out some beams that were set across the bridge. We left it like this in an effort to, you don't want to have the road nice up until the bridge is completed. Because of the amount of equipment, we brought in large cranes and whatnot to set those beams, so you don't want to tear up the road. So once it's completed, then we'll finish it up. We're gonna go over and take a look at the bridge now. All right, there's your bridge right there. You see the little rebar and little hoops over. Those are the beams. And a gentleman is walking across it as we speak. He's tethered to it. What they're doing right now is creating forms to enable them to walk, because they need to be able to do form pours around the what they call the bents, and we'll show pictures of that here in just a second. But they need to set what they call deck panels, and they need to have the all their scaffolding and all that stuff squared away before they do so. We got a lot of forming and pouring, because that's where, once they set the deck panels, they'll put wood forms and whatnot around the outside edge, because they're going to pour concrete right over the top of the deck panels, and that would be the driving surface with which you are using. Let's go see if we can check out the bottom real quick. Alright. Alright, here's up the underside. That's the beam right there. That is called, they are columns, whatever, but they're called bents. It's kind of a location. There is the picture. That right there is the abutment. We'll get a better look at that on the way back up. Some equipment, that's called a man lift, for most people don't know. We'll get up underneath here and look. The location that we're at is a place called the Arroyo Colorado, and this is basically a river that I say it's a river. It kind of joins with the Rio Grande River. It's kind of an offshoot of it. It's also used as an outfall. When I say outfall, for the drainage for most of the Rio Grande Valley where I'm from. When a hurricane or large storm events occur, a majority of the water flows through here. It just kind of provides a natural drainage. This area, in many ways, is very, very protected. So it requires a lot of work to be able to get permits and whatnot in here, because it's obviously, if you can kind of look at it, it's kind of a wetland. It's in future video blogs or whatever, I'll show pictures of the Rio Grande River and some interesting stories across it or whatever. But yeah, a lot of this stuff has remained untouched since I say forever. And so what you kind of see here is not indicative of what you would see like along the Rio Grande River, at least in this area. The further west you go, it changes pretty significantly, and then it changes even a little bit more east, like near the mouth of it at the Gulf of Mexico. It starts to widen out, and that's where they have like the ports and stuff like that. Not a very large significant port like, let's say, New York or any of those, or even Galveston, which is a very large port, about 2.5 hours from here. Yeah. There's I don't know if you can kind of see. There's a gentleman right there walking, or standing right there. That's the abutment. That's basically there's large, and I believe my brother is running this project, and I believe at the abutment there's 80-foot drill shafts, which are basically large holes that are dug, round holes are dug, and then steel is inserted. A round cage of steel is inserted about 80 feet long, and then a slurry, a concrete cement type slurry is poured into it, and it's slowly pushed in. And as it's a very wet. When I say slurry, it's very wet. So as it hits the bottom, it forces all the water and mud out. So as you pump this slurry into the hole for the drill shaft, you're also pumping the mud and gunk out of the hole in an effort to just leave a nice drill shaft. Usually in dry conditions, that's what you're going to want to use, unless the ground conditions don't let you do it. For example, most likely, I don't know this for a fact because I haven't looked at the plans. That location right there, I don't know, they might have used a drill shaft. They might have, or they could use what they call like a concrete piling, which are basically like big nails. I say big nails. It's basically a big concrete nail. And they have these big Delmag diesel hammers that use like a perpetual motion type deal. It uses its own rebound energy, its own kinetic energy to push it. So you use the diesel engine to push the piston in the air the first time, and as it rebounds, it uses that kinetic energy to hit it again. So obviously, if the ground is too soft, you won't get a strong enough rebound to push it in there, or the weight of the piston will push it too far. And if the ground is too hard, it'll be hitting the piling way too hard, and it'll break it. So the gentlemen who run those things tend to be, there tends to be an artistic approach. Obviously, you know, obviously the layperson or whatnot would look at this stuff and like look at these guys and go, well, it's hourly employees or whatever, just, you know. But in certain fields, not all of them, there's a certain artistry to it. It's amazing. Some of the carpenters, the work and formwork that they can do, and even in a short period of time, is amazing. It's no shortness of creativity out here. Like I said, this is one of the many projects that we do. This just happens to be the focus of, like, not really, technically, not my first video blog, but definitely one of the early ones. And this bridge, like I said, will provide access to basically in and out of the mall area of Harlingen, kind of, and a high school area. There's a high school on the other side of this bridge. Eventually, what will happen in the road that I just drove in on will hopefully extend all the way to the expressway, and so people will be able to traverse that. We're gonna go ahead and drive out here. See what, before I go, let's see if I can get a good shot down there first. Well, my truck is rolling backwards. Yeah, very quiet area. The fishing's not too bad out of here, although I wouldn't fish out of it, but I know plenty of people who do. So, there you go. 10-4. Alright. Check y'all later.